Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Coming up here on the show, our instant reaction and takeaways from this Niners win. 36-24 here to kick off Week 6 on Thursday Night Football. Really appreciate everybody who tuned into the watch party here on the show. We did massive numbers once again as more than 100,000 people kicked it with us here all throughout the evening. And you see how the scoreboard reads, right? 36-24. And you're thinking, this was an easy, stress-free win for the Niners. They even up that record at 3-3, and all was good, right? It's all good that the Niners got a victory, obviously on a short week when you travel up to Seattle, difficult place to play, and you can get your first division win and take down your most hated rival. That's a great thing. But this game was hard fought. This game was physical. This game was taxing. This game was really, really stressful. But at the end of the night, the Niners were able to come up with a much-needed win. And it was not easy for San Francisco to pull out this victory. At the start of the third quarter, it looked as though the Niners were going to cruise to a win. They were up 23-3. And then San Francisco gives up a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to Laviska Shenault. And then the Seattle Seahawks are able to march right down the field 90-plus yards. And all of a sudden, what looked to be a Niners blowout victory turned into a one-score game. And you're thinking, is Kyle Shanahan going to blow his 19th double-digit lead as a head coach of the 49ers? Is San Francisco going to go 0-3 inside the NFC West, blowing and choking another winnable game against a division rival like they did against the Rams, like they did against the Cardinals? Please don't tell me they're going to do it again against the Seattle Seahawks. The vibes were in a bad spot for Niner fans everywhere. But then San Francisco able to come through with a gutsy and clutch victory. I have a lot of things to talk about here on the show, so don't you dare go anywhere. But please make sure you hit that subscribe button during the watch party. We surpassed 145,000 subscribers. Let's go through the positives here, because after all, this is a win for the Niners. San Francisco won to even up their record at 3-3, going into a Super Bowl rematch against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 7 at home, Levi Stadium. I know Kansas City is 5-0, but they are a flawed team. Excellent defensively, led by Steve Spagnuolo, but they're bad offensively, and they've been really spotty. Patrick Mahomes' numbers have been mid, and you think this Niners red zone offense has been bad? 29th in the NFL. Kansas City is 30th. That is a winnable game to get revenge on Kansas City to get above 500. And I know the Niners have never beaten Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and it will be a difficult game. But to get some positive momentum going heading into that ball game and to just get a win and to have some really good production, very important for this team. They needed to get off the schneid after that bad loss against the Cardinals last week. And the production in this game was no joke. The Niners put up 483 total yards of offense. They pick up 21 first downs. They were 5-12 on third down. That's okay. Not penalized much. They won time of possession. Honestly, they were more dominant than what the time of possession numbers look like. And the Seahawks were able to pick up a lot of garbage time numbers. But you needed a win on a short week, and San Francisco was able to pick up that victory. The Niners in this game faced a lot of adversity after nearly choking this game away. But they won this game in a big spot. And this year, when they have faced adversity, they have folded. They have lost. Can this be a win that turns around the season for the San Francisco 49ers? Because as easily as they are 3-3, as easily as they could have been 2-4, if they lost this game, they could be 6-0. If their red zone efficiency was a little bit better, they could be undefeated. But the margins in the NFL are razor thin. Just like the Chiefs are 5-0, that record could easily be a lot worse. So I like how the Niners were punched in the face a little bit. They were getting a little bit nervous on that sideline, and they come through with the really big win. The 49ers also, in the second half, finally able to finish inside the red zone. They were 0 in the first half, and that's why this game was a lot closer than it actually was, because in that first half, in the first 2 quarters, San Francisco was dominant offensively, they were dominant defensively, and there were a lot of really good signs for this team, but it was a close game, 16-3, because of the Niners' inability to finish drives in the red area. But then they punched it into the into the end zone, 3 times in that second half. Opening drive of the third quarter, they march right down the field. Brock Purdy able to fit a dime ball to George Kittle right in front of the pylon for a big touchdown. A little bit later, on another third down, I believe, Brock Purdy in the red zone on a big third down, able to find George Kittle on another tight window throw. And then later in the game, some garbage time football. Kyle Juszczyk able to run it into the end zone as the Niners capitalize in the red zone once again. Have they found something in the red area? I'm still really concerned about this team in the red zone, but they should utilize George Kittle oftentimes in the red zone, and he's off to a tremendous start. But the play calling, the lack of separation, Brock Purdy not really trusting himself fully and being hesitant, and the offensive line protection continues to be really bad. They can't run the ball successfully in that red area, and their first down success rate in the red zone continues to be a problem. It's good that they were able to finish in the red zone on 3 occasions in that second half, but it's still a worry for me as we look ahead. A lot more to get to here during our post-game show, but let's first give a shout-out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, for making today's Niners Report possible. Prize Picks, run your game. This is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million active members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players and their projected stat lines for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money, as I noted, but if you play $5, you get $50 instantly, and you don't even need to win. Our selections for this game going in, we had liked Kenneth Walker, more than 63.5 rushing yards, Brandon Ayuk, more than 4.5 catches, and Brock Purdy, more than 253.5 passing yards. That's how the more or less game is able to work out. And when you look at our selections, Purdy threw for 255. Brandon Ayuk only caught 2 passes. Kenneth Walker only ran for 32 yards. So we took the L there, but it makes game days and game nights a lot more fun. So pick more, pick less, pick Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that code CLNS for that special. Get $50 when you play 5. Let's continue on with the positives in the aftermath of this Niners 36-24 win. The defense came to play. And the defense came to play against an offense that statistically has been really good this year. You're without Charvarius Mooney-Ward. And I thought that Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore, and Isaac Yiadom played pretty good football, all things considered. And you're without Ward, as I mentioned. Malik Mustafa went out of this game with an ankle injury. You're working with George Odom at that safety spot. Seattle has DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Noah Fant, a really good receiving core. And when it mattered, San Francisco's defense was able to hold the Seahawks offense in check. You can look at these numbers here. They're inflated because a lot of these yards came when the Seahawks were in desperation mode. But when this game was hanging in the balance and when this game had the pressure on, the Niners were able to force 2 interceptions of Geno Smith. They were really good against the run. They did a better job of tackling, and these were things they needed to correct. And the secondary, for the most part, played very well on that back end. What I loved was seeing the youth movement from this Niners team. Malik Mustafa, first drive of the game, able to take 3 points off the board for Seattle because he intercepted Geno Smith. Renardo Green, on multiple occasions, had really good coverage against the likes of DK Metcalf, and he had an interception which really decided the game for San Francisco. Malik Mustafa, Renardo Green, two rookies in the secondary who came to play and made game-altering, game-changing plays. So you have a team that's in a Super Bowl window that has an expensive roster, and you're getting contributions from some of your rookies. And then Isaac Guerendo in this game had a 70-plus yard run along of 76, which also helped to ice this game on a patented outside zone run. Good blocks from Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz, that was Dominic Pooney, that was able to allow him to run and scamper for 76 yards. He's an athletic freak, is Guerendo. And we saw that here. 10 carries, 99 yards. Obviously, on one carry, he picked up 76. But in the pre-draft process, 6 feet, 220 pounds, he ran a 4.3 40-yard dash. Jordan Mason getting injured in this game, so he got some more carries. And we'll see what happens with Jordan Mason. The injury, a little bit of a concern. He got hurt in that first half where he landed on his shoulder. And anytime that happens, you're thinking AC joint sprain, you're thinking collarbone, you're thinking shoulder subluxation. When he was in the game, he performed very well. 9 carries for 73 yards, a long of 38, which was an angry run in Seattle fittingly, where he looked like Marshawn Lynch, where Marshawn Lynch became a legend. He came back for 1 carry to start the third quarter. He ran for 9, but you could see as he went toward the sideline, he kind of shielded that shoulder. We'll see what happens with Jordan Mason's injury. The Niners are already without Christian McCaffrey. And if they're without Jordan Mason, that hurts this running attack. But Isaac Guerendo looked pretty good. Patrick Taylor actually had some good carries, and the Niners continued to use Deebo Samuel in that backfield. And in speaking of the Niners being banged up without McCaffrey, without Jordan Mason, facing some adversity in this game, taking a couple of punches on the chin, this game becoming hairy, I thought that Brock Purdy played really well in this game. He had a great stat line where he finished 18 of 28, 255 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. For the Niners to win the turnover battle 3-0 was crucial in this game, but for Brock Purdy to lead the Niners on a couple of touchdown drives late in this game, when this game was really close, when the pressure cooker was starting to heat up, that's what you want to see from a franchise-level elite quarterback. And the 2 touchdowns that he threw to George Kittle, excellent, excellent throws. There was a sliver of daylight on those touchdown throws. Brock Purdy able to complete those passes to George Kittle, and then he did throw a 74-yard touchdown to Deebo Samuel, and people will say, Brock Purdy got lucky, the safety whiffed on the tackle, it was a bad throw. Don't we talk about quarterbacks having pocket feel, pocket mobility as being important traits? I certainly do, because it is important to have that awareness, to have that innate feel. In order for Brock Purdy to throw that ball to Deebo, in which Deebo picked up a bunch of yards after the catch, and he's been down in that yak category this year, Purdy had to shift to his right in order to buy the millisecond for him to throw that football. So that was a good play by Brock Purdy. He also recognized what the defense was doing, and it was a good play design from Kyle Shanahan, where Brandon Ayuk ran that up and in, that took the safety, who drifted over a little bit, opened up the lane for Deebo Samuel, who on that yards after the catch pickup and on that 74-yard touchdown, according to Next Gen Stats, reached more than 20 miles per hour. That was his fastest speed since he was a rookie in 2019. Some people have theorized that maybe Deebo is cooked because his yak numbers are down. He's not breaking tackles as much. Yards after contact, not what they've been. Deebo Samuel looked great, and he continues to own the Seattle Seahawks. Nick Bosa. Let's spend some moments talking about Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa sneakily is having a great year. And while this Niners defense has struggled a little bit, they have been paced by their 2 best players in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. Fred Warner, once again, terrific. He forced another fumble, nonchalant with that peanut punch once again. Made a couple of really good plays in the pass game as well. But Nick Bosa is having an all-pro caliber season. According to Next Gen Stats, he had 14 pressures on Geno Smith in this game. It is tied for the most pressures by a pass rusher in a game over the last 4 years, when Bosa had 14 pressures in Week 4 in 2022 against the Rams. Against the New England Patriots, I had said during the postgame show, one of the finer games of Nick Bosa's career, he was causing so many problems for the Seahawks offense tonight, so dominant in this game, making his imprint, making his presence be felt. He's improved against the run over the last couple of years, and he has the fastest get-off speed among all players in the NFL this year. Nick Bosa is playing excellent football, and he's really helping out this Niners defense. As for the bad, this special teams unit for the Niners continues to criminally be fraudulent and a straight-up joke. Against the Rams, what gave the Rams belief? What gave the Rams life? What injected hope into that Rams team? The fake punt. Tonight in this game, the Niners are up 23-3. What changed the tide of this game? A 97-yard kickoff return for Laviska Shenault. Brian Schneider was a pretty good special teams coordinator for Seattle. He has been horrid for the Niners. And it's incredible to me how a coach like Kyle Shanahan, who's had so much success in the NFL, continues to just disregard special teams and not take it seriously. Because it's costing the Niners big time, and it almost cost the Niners in this game. I mentioned those red zone flaws a little bit earlier. In the first half, couldn't finish in the red area. So that is something to monitor. If the Niners can get that figured out, they can reach their peak and still be and become one of the top teams in the National Football League, because we have seen that this Niners team is capable of doing that. Another blemish in this game is that Kyle Shanahan nearly blew another double-digit lead. He went away from the run at points in that third quarter. He's not taking special teams seriously enough, and those things allowed Seattle to come back in the game. And the play calling in the red zone, the play designs in the red zone simply have not been as effective as they've been in years past. The Niners were number 1 in success rate in the red zone last year, 25th going into this game. And look, Andy Reid is 30th in red zone efficiency this year. Kyle Shanahan 29th. So two of the top offensive minds in the game not really performing well with their offenses in the red area. You have confidence that Andy Reid's going to be able to turn it around. He has 3 Super Bowls, though. Kyle Shanahan doesn't have any. As for the Niners' schedule coming up, that's why it's so important for the Niners to win this game. It's a difficult schedule coming up. You have the Kansas City Chiefs next Sunday, Dallas Cowboys after that, Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, and by the way, those Chiefs-Cowboys games are at home. So Buccaneers on the road, and that is a 1 p.m. Eastern game, 10 a.m. Pacific. You have the Seahawks at home, the Packers on the road, the Bills on the road, the Bears at home, the Rams at home, the Dolphins on the road, Lions at home, and the Cardinals on the road. That is a difficult schedule coming up, and it's going to be really a hard-fought schedule for the Niners to make the playoffs, but look, this team has the talent. They are battle-tested, and that's why they needed this victory here tonight. So your confidence level in the Niners moving forward, 1 to 10 is the scale. Let me know down in the comment section. As always, we really appreciate all of you for tuning into the show, supporting everything that we do. A clutch, big stones, 12-point win for the Niners here on Thursday Night Football.